Today, I am getting in the water. I am getting on a surfboard. That's right, we are doing it once again. It is another Blind Leading the Blind episode of Going Surfing, but it is not with my first blind surfing friend Pete Gustin in San Diego, Nene. We are in Sydney, Australia, and we are meeting up with yet another blind surfer who I will be introducing you to shortly. And this is just proof that those of us who are blind and do something are not anomalies. I feel like for so much of my life, like people would just act like I was the exception to the rule. I, a blind person who could do things and like thrive and succeed, I was the anomaly, which is so much of the reason I started this whole series to begin with, was to show that like, no, I'm not. I am simply one version of blindness, and there's so many people like me. And there's so many people in my community who can do things that I could never do, right? Which is all these episodes that we've seen thus far. And sure, I could have been like, well, I've already done surfing in an episode. I don't want to do it again. But no, because I want an excuse to get back out there in the water, on the waves, on the board, but also to show you guys that like Pete's a blind surfer, Matt's a blind surfer. All over the world, there are blind people like crushing it, doing crazy cool things. And I am so excited. I'm not going to lie to you. Today is Monday. On Saturday, I did take a little private surf lesson with my friends over at Let's Go Surfing because I was like, all right, I need to brush up. I'm surfing in Sydney waters. The waves are a little bit bigger here, and I'm surfing with somebody who's done 50-foot waves. 50-foot waves. I'll let that sink in. Right? The world record. So here is how I did on Saturday.
Molly's boyfriend here again to do some audio description. So she started by getting a refresher on the beach on proper stance and how to pop up on the board. And the folks at Let's Go Surfing were so awesome, great instructors and really great people. Out on the water, Molly really quickly got the hang of it again and caught tons of waves. And the instructors would stand in the shallow water behind Molly's board and then push the board while she laid on it to get her up to speed at the perfect moment to catch the wave. Throughout the lesson, her balance and her confidence only got better and better. It was my first time surfing, and we both had so much fun. Again, shout out to the people at Let's Go Surfing. If you're surfing in Australia, specifically we were at Bondi Beach, and can't recommend them enough.
So all in all, I feel like honestly, I didn't do too bad.
No, not at all. You did great.
Like, I got up. For me, the hardest part is still that, like, pop-up. But I really learned last time when I did the episode with Pete to, like, take it slow. And I feel like 10 years ago when I did my first ever surfing lesson, that was where I truly did wrong. Like, I felt the pressure that, like, the wave comes, I gotta pop up quick. I mean, the term pop up makes it feel like you gotta, like, get up there. But I realized last time with Pete that taking it slow, particularly because balance is such a challenge when you're blind, really sets you up for success, to feel where your feet are on the board, get that balance before you stand. So that's really what I was practicing with the last surf lesson, which was just like a quick hour lesson, but I feel like we got a lot done, like just a good refresh. And you know, being such an advanced surfer now, having surfed 3 times in the last decade of my life, I can tell you that it's kind of like riding a bike. You haven't done it in a long time and you're like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do this. And you get scared and you psych yourself out. But then you do it once or twice and you're like, it all comes back. So I do feel like that like focus on the slow pop-up came back to me. And pretty much every single time I managed to get up, at least stay up for a little bit. In fact, they had to keep being like, Molly, get down. Get down.
Jump off the board.
Jump off the board. And I was like, I don't want to. It's fun. I felt like I was being Elton. Yeah. When we're like, Elton, drop the ball. And he's like, squeak, 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 squeak. We're like, drop the ball. He's like, squeak, squeak, squeak. Yeah, that was me on the board. I was like, I don't want to get off. I'm having fun. So, yeah, it definitely came back to me. So, fingers crossed I don't embarrass myself with a world record holding blind surfer today. So, let's go meet Matt. So I'm really cold. I'm such a baby. I hate every time I complain about being cold and people go, aren't you Canadian? No, I left. I can't handle it. I'm baby. So I'm putting on a wet wetsuit, which is like damp and chilly, and I'm keeping my puffer jacket on. It's quite a look. It's quite an aesthetic I've got going on right now. All right, now I've got a real aesthetic going. The wetsuit, the flip-flops, and the puffer over top. I'm being told it's like 20 degrees in the water, Celsius, which is the same as it was in Bondi, and it felt much warmer than California waters. California waters, very cold. Matt is about 5 minutes out, and our other coach today, our sighted coach, is also Matt, just to make things confusing. Although honestly, we all know at this point, if you've seen my surfing video, that Matthew from Tinder is what inspired me to want to learn surfing to begin with and made me meet my best friend to this day, Braden. So I feel like it's very full circle to now have two Matts, not one, but two Matthews teaching me how to surf. Actually, I replaced teaching me how to surf with helping me improve my already wonderful base knowledge of surfing. Okay, we are here. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, Matt Formston. You are crazy. What you do on a surfboard is insane. Can you kind of give, for anybody who does not know you, can you give a little, who is Matt?
I'm Matt Formston. I'm a dad. I'm a businessman, but I suppose I'm most known for being an athlete. I was a Paralympic cyclist, a world record holder in cycling. And I'm a 4-time world champion surfer, and I hold a Guinness World Record for the largest wave ever surfed by a parasurfer, which was basically a 5-story building in Nazaré, Portugal.
It's just so insane. Okay, let's back up.
Yeah.
So you have, correct me if I'm wrong, Stargardt's disease?
Similar, yeah, macular dystrophy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have no central.
Yeah.
And then what is your vision like now?
I've basically got 1% in my left eye and 3% in my right eye.
Okay.
Peripheral only.
So we're working with minimal real estate here.
Yes.
How long have you been surfing?
My whole life. So I grew up in a town not too far from where we are now called Narrabeen. Everyone in Narrabeen surfs, and yeah, just ever since literally the backyard was the ocean, or was a lake, and then I could walk to the beach. So I surfed my whole life.
And you had a lot more vision when you were younger.
No, I lost my vision when I was 5.
Oh, okay.
So I learned to surf blind. Yeah.
Okay, so you've been a blind surfer your whole life.
Yeah.
How did you learn? I feel like, did you have access to adaptive learning, or was it just like normal? Because I know when I was younger, adaptive sports wasn't what it is today. The access I had to adaptive sports was pretty limited.
Yeah.
So you just kind of learned with like your friends, your family.
Yeah. Brother and dad would push me into waves on a little bodyboard. I'd lay down and catch waves. Yeah. And so I learned how to feel and hear and use all the different sounds of the ocean. And then is Toddy there? No. Toddy! You got a book?
Yeah.
Can you give me a book?
Cool.
Pass it over. I'm reaching my hand out. Give it to me.
So you can feel Braille on there?
Yeah.
So in the book it talks about Matt listens to when Matt surfs, I forget what it says, but it's basically when Matt listens to the ocean, it tells him its secrets, and when he feels the ocean, Can you read Braille?
I can.
Okay, cool. So it's the first book with Braille text and illustrations, and they did it with special text, so they just basically layered up when they printed it, they just layered up the print multiple times to be able to raise it up and create the Braille. But anyway, that's sort of how I learned to surf. Just listening to, you listen to the ocean and I can hear what it's saying and I feel, when we go out today, I'll teach you how to feel.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of feeling in the ocean. So I did that on a bodyboard, and then when I was about 11, I stood up, which is a cool story. Probably haven't got time for it, but it was basically because of a girl. A lot of things have happened in my life because of girls. So
gotta impress them.
Yeah.
Gotta impress a girl. Stand up on the board.
Yeah.
I'm a big skier. That's like one of my biggest passions.
Okay.
And I have found like in the very limited experience that I've had surfing, it reminds me of skiing in that you're working with nature, right? Like we're not on a court. You're not on a field. You're working with nature, which no matter how good you are, like there's a level of that you can't be prepared for.
Variability,
because it just is going to change.
Yeah.
And I find that almost gives you like this little bit of adrenaline that makes you like lock in. You're just so focused in a way that some other sports I've tried haven't required of me to just be so in the moment and like almost meditative. Like everything else just disappears and you're so focused purely like to stay safe out there. And that's one thing that I've really appreciated about surfing that has reminded me of skiing in that way, is just like I kind of get so locked in wave by wave.
Yeah.
And it's so about the feeling, and obviously balance for a lot of blind people is the biggest struggle, and that was definitely for me going into surfing the first time. I was like, oh no, I don't know how I'm gonna manage to stand up, and then you're standing up on what, 50-foot waves?
Yeah.
Obviously you've had a lot from that first standing at 11 to where you are today.
Yeah.
At what point did you think like I could actually pursue this as a para-athlete?
So there was basically my whole, like I used to be out the back with the boys, with my mates when I was a teenager, and they would always be this ongoing joke. Imagine if you could surf against other blind people, you'd beat everyone, and it was just like we'd all laugh at it, and we'd all make the joke, you know, that would never let that happen. It's too like what a zoo. They'll be running into each other, and that will never happen, right? And then I was actually in Italy training for the 2016 Paralympics in Rio. And my mate texted me, he's like, you're never going to believe it, they're going to let you blind, and I won't say the word that he said, but people compete against each other. And they announced the first ever parasurfing world championships.
Wow.
So I literally jumped off the bike and went to Worlds, and yeah.
And now you have a documentary out called, what is it called?
The Blind Sea.
The Blind Sea.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good
SEA.
play on words. It's a good play on words.
It is.
I have not been able to watch it despite my searching. So we're gonna have to purchase it on Apple TV or something.
Yeah.
You unfortunately are not going to be able to come out surfing with us today.
Yeah. I'll come in the water. I just can't come. I can't get my eye wet because I had surgery on my eye last week. So.
But thankfully, because of the Blind Sea, we've got access to probably a lot of incredible footage. So we got to show at least a little bit of you surfing in here. Yeah. A little humble brag moment. Yeah. I am really excited to get out there. What advice do you have for me as a pretty novice surfer?
Look, you've got Matt Granger in the water with you today. He's a world-class big wave surfer as well, and a weapon of a human. So he will get you on waves. He's in the movie as well. Actually filmed on this beach. So when you watch the movie and you see Matt, he's actually filmed. It's right here on the sand where they filmed that part. But I think my tips is. Can we wait until we get in the water and I'll give you my tips? Because
okay, you'll have to see where I'm at and then you can give me your tips.
I think the tips I'm going to give you are more around being blind than about surfing.
Right.
Because it's like feeling the waves. So we're going to go in the water. I'll come in with you. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get you to feel the and so you can hear the waves breaking, right? Yeah. There's a period, we call it a period. Each wave is separated. A lot of people think there's just this madness to the ocean. But there's actually a lot of patterns to it. I think as blind people we use patterns, right?
Absolutely.
We like maps and patterns.
Yep.
So if you can find out where the patterns are, the consistent things are, then all you have to do is worry about the variables that you talked about. Yeah. So I'll try and tell you where some of those patterns are. So then you know it's less witch doctor stuff, and it's more and you can. So that's the first thing. And then standing up. A lot of people stand up and they lean back, and especially as a blind person, because we're scared of what's in front of us, right? Right. Because you run into branches and doorways and all stuff all the time, right? Mm-hmm. You're not going to run into any branches in the ocean, so lean forward.
Lean forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, try and get that front foot forward straight away.
That's the hard part. That's what I struggle with.
Well, that's going to make it a lot more stable. Because if you're trying to like get up one way and then are you sure you're goofy?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. The other way feels way more confusing.
This one's 90.
I'm left-handed, so I think that's probably part of why I'm goofy. I don't know.
No, that's my brother's right-handed. Yeah, that's good. Legs really strong. And then
I can slide it forward once I'm up.
You don't even have to. Like that stance is fine. You don't need to be too wide. Like that's wide enough. And then bow and arrow. And you look and you focus because you can't see where you're going, right?
Yeah,
but by focusing,
still have to put the head up.
Well, the head up, yeah, because otherwise it'll change your posture. Yeah. So you want to bring that up and bring that bow and arrow up, and that'll give you that stance. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it's finally time for Molly to go surfing again. Here are some clips of Molly and Matt Formston and Matt Granger all standing on the beach laughing and chatting. Matt Granger, who's a sighted surfer, was the one going out in the water with Molly. Matt Formston wasn't able to, as he said, because he had just had surgery in his eye a week ago, so he wasn't able to get it wet. And Matt Granger was the one helping to guide her out to the water and push her board to catch the waves. Here, Molly is walking out into the ocean with her board and her guide to get to a good spot to lay on the board. And it requires some good timing just to be able to jump over the small waves coming in, learning how not to fight the current, how to angle the board so it goes over the wave with you. There's a lot to it. So here's Matt Granger spinning Molly around so she's facing the beach and pushing her right as the wave comes in. She takes her time with this first wave just to get back into the groove of it and doesn't wind up standing in time before the wave slows down and comes up to the beach. Nearly every wave after, though, she's able to catch one. Even without sight, you can kind of tell when the board starts to slow down and when it loses momentum at the end of the wave, and that's usually the cue to safely fall off the board the way Molly shows here. Here's a really cool drone shot of Molly catching another wave. And this was Molly's final wave of the day, captured in slow motion.
I probably look a hot mess. I'm covered in sand under my outfit and sticky salt water, but that was really fun. I really enjoyed myself. One thing that's so interesting is like every wave is so different in a way that it's like hard to know what to expect. Like you think, okay, this time I'm gonna try to do this, I'll tweak that, and it's like just a whole new experience every wave, and you're like, just kidding. It's like with skiing, even though it's unpredictable, as long as it's not like snowing in the moment, once you've done the run once or twice, you're like, okay, I know what to expect of this run. Whereas this, it's like every wave, you're like, something new. So I think I could see why you'd have to have so much base level experience of just, you have to get so good at predicting the wave and like feeling the nuance in it before you can even start to adjust like your speed and carving things out and like getting to those bigger waves. So I think I really would love to continue trying to surf and learn more and like doing it more consistently. Will that happen? Lord knows, probably not. But in my brain, I would love to at least someday get more into it because I really do enjoy it. But I think it would take a long time to get as good as Matt. Speaking of, I'll have all of Matt's info linked down below if you want to follow him on his next journey of freediving. Also, I think I have his book here.
Yep.
Is that it?
Yep.
I'll have the info for his children's book linked down below and my book. Pre-order unseen now. Until next time, you can check out this episode of Blindly Blind where I went surfing with Pete Gustin, or you can click over here, I don't know, to watch another cool video of me doing stuff in Australia.